The nominative in German is the most common case that identifies the subject of a sentence. In English and German, every noun is given in the nominative because it is the dictionary form of words. It answers the questions what and who, was, wer. By asking these questions and getting the what or the who, we'll know that the sentence is nominative. Because it is the first German case, it's easy to spot a nominative sentence because by knowing what or who the subject is, the sentence will be nominative. Hence, it's the dictionary form of words, so a nominative word is expressed how it should be. The only possible grammatical change that a word can have in the nominative is being plural, such as nouns and articles. In other cases, nouns, pronouns, and adjectives can be modified, but those will be explained separately in future videos. For now, let's focus on the nominative. To pluralize a nominative noun or article, we change or add an ending depending on gender. In English, this is simple because generally we only add s after nouns. When it comes to articles, the, a, and an have no gender or quantity, meaning they can be applied to any word, so they cannot be pluralized. In German, there are many ways to pluralize nouns and articles, but to do so, we first have to know the genders of German words. I made a video about this, and I would recommend watching it to get a better understanding. I will not cover everything from that video, but instead, I'll categorize each concept so that it's simpler to understand. Here's a short recap. In German, you can find masculine nouns that have the following endings, and the articles that they will follow are der and ein. You can also find feminine nouns with these endings, and the articles that they will follow are die and eine. Neuter nouns can have these endings, and they will follow the articles das and ein. Now, in correlation to the indefinite articles, German also has negative versions, such as kein and keine. These indefinite articles negate the presence of something, and it's equivalent to the English no or not any. They're the negative counterparts of ein and eine, but I will not explain them in this video. Instead, they will be explained when showing how negation works in German. Don't worry about it for now. In the nominative, any plural noun will also have only one article, so German borrows its articles when plural, and shares only one plural article across any plural noun. The definite article is die, and the indefinite article is keine. I will not be showing keine, but die will be used, because in the nominative, it's the only article that applies to any plural noun, regardless of the endings. These are the general endings that you will likely see when learning German. There are many more exceptions and irregular nouns, but I will show just a few of them, because German has a lot of different endings for both singular and plural nouns. There are so many of them that covering them all is simply too much. Instead, I'm condensing the most common endings into categories and covering their general grammar so that it's easier for you. In case I miss any ending, rule, or exception, my apologies, but you can correct me. The following endings are for singular masculine, feminine, and neuter nouns, and they will have different endings when plural. If a masculine noun has no specific ending, add e and sometimes an umlaut. If it ends in e, add n. If it ends in l, n, r, there is no change, but sometimes an umlaut will be. If it ends in ent, ist, or, add n. If it has an irregular pattern, like being monosyllabic, add r and sometimes an umlaut. If it's a foreign masculine word, add s. If a feminine noun ends in e, add n. If it ends in height, ung, schafft, ion, I, ur, add n. If it has an irregular pattern, there will be an umlaut and sometimes n will be added. If a neuter noun ends in hen, lein, l, there is no change. If it ends in ment, add e. If it ends in ma, change it to n. If it ends in tum, add er, and sometimes an umlaut will be. If it has no specific ending, add er, and sometimes an umlaut will be. Again, these are broad patterns for pluralizing nouns, because there could be a lot of exceptions, but still, they will help in knowing how to pluralize nouns, especially in other cases. While it may seem like a lot of information, it's the only thing you'll need to understand how words change in other cases. These are the rules to pluralize nouns not only in the nominative, but in the accusative, dative, and genitive too. This is why it's vital to introduce them in the nominative. With this information, other cases will be much simpler to understand, because articles will change, but primarily, they will not affect nouns as much. Let's have some examples. Here, we have masculine nouns with no specific endings. Der Hund, ein Hund. Der Baum, ein Baum. To pluralize them, we add and sometimes an umlaut. Also, the definite article will change when plural, because it's the only article that is used across any plural nominative noun. Die Hunde, die Bäume. By pluralizing them, we do not need indefinite articles because they're only used for singular nouns. These nouns are nominative because by asking what or who, we have an answer. Plus, they're the only subjects. Der Hund, ein Hund. Die Hunde. Der Baum, ein Baum. Die Bäume. Here, we have a masculine noun ending in e. Der Junge, ein Junge. To pluralize it, we add n. Die Jungen. They're the only subjects, so by asking who, we know it's nominative. Here, we have masculine nouns ending in l, n, r. Der Apfel, ein Apfel. Der Boden, ein Boden. Der Lehrer, ein Lehrer. To pluralize them, there will be no change, but some will have an umlaut. Since there will be no difference between the singular and the plural, we can tell them apart by the umlaut and by the article. Plus, they're the only subjects. Die Äpfel, die Boden, die Lehrer. Here, we have masculine nouns ending in ent, ist, or. Der Student, ein Student. Der Journalist, ein Journalist. Der Professor, ein Professor. In this case, Journalist is pronounced with the J sound because it's a loan word. To pluralize them, we add n. Die Studenten, die Journalisten, die Professoren. Plus, they're the only subjects. Here, we have masculine nouns with irregular patterns, being monosyllabic. Der Mann, ein Mann. Der Gott, ein Gott. To pluralize them, we add er and sometimes an umlaut. Die Männer, die Götter. Plus, they're the only subjects. Here, we have foreign masculine nouns. Der Park, ein Park. Der Chef, ein Chef. To pluralize them, we add s. Die Parks, die Chefs. They're the only subjects. Now, let's work with feminine nouns. Here, we have feminine nouns ending in e. Feminine nouns will have different endings when singular and plural, so the articles will grammatically change too. Die Lampe, eine Lampe. Die Blume, eine Blume. To pluralize them, we add n. Die Lampen, die Blumen. Plus, they're the only subjects. Here, we have feminine nouns ending in heit, ung, schaft, ion, I, ur. Die Freiheit, eine Freiheit. Die Zeitung, eine Zeitung. Die Freundschaft, eine Freundschaft. Die Nation, eine Nation. Die Theorie, eine Theorie. Die Natur, eine Natur. To pluralize them, we add n. Die Freiheiten, die Zeitungen. die Freundschaften, die Nationen, die Theorien, die Naturen. They're the only subjects. Here we have feminine nouns with irregular patterns. Die Mutter, eine Mutter. Die Tochter, eine Tochter. Die Schwester, eine Schwester. Die Frau, eine Frau. To pluralize them, there will be an umlaut, and sometimes n will be added. Die Mutter, die Tochter, die Schwestern, die Frauen. They're the only subjects. Let's finish with neuter nouns. Here we have neuter nouns ending in hen, line, l. Neuter nouns will have different endings when singular and plural, so the articles will also change. Das Mädchen, ein Mädchen. Das Fräulein, ein Fräulein. Das Zimmer, ein Zimmer. Das Kabel, ein Kabel. To pluralize them, there will be no change. So to distinguish the singular and plural, we can tell them apart by the article. Die Mädchen, die Fräulein, die Zimmer, die Kabel. Here we have neuter nouns ending in ment. Das Instrument, ein Instrument. Das Dokument, ein Dokument. To pluralize them, we add e. Die Instrumente, die Dokumente. Here we have neuter nouns ending in ma. Das Zentrum, ein Zentrum. Das Datum, ein Datum. Das Thema, ein Thema. Das Drama, ein Drama. To pluralize them, we change the endings to n. Die Zentren, die Daten, die Themen, die Dramen. Here we have a neuter noun ending in tum. Das Konigtum, ein Konigtum. To pluralize it, we add and sometimes an umlaut. Die Konigtume. Here we have neuter nouns with no specific endings. Das Haus, ein Haus. Das Kind, ein Kind. To pluralize them, we add and sometimes an umlaut. Die Häuser, die Kinder. Ordinarily, this is the system of nouns and articles in the German nominative case. This concept applies to most nouns in German, and is something that you have to get a feel for. As I said previously, there are many irregular patterns and exceptions, but I choose not to emphasize them because remembering them is too much. I'm just condensing the most important concepts into one, so that it's easier for you, and the same will be done with other cases.